what is the cost of my labor as I clean this? What is my contribution to the GDP of the nation? And how can that BQ it? How can they be QE of goods and services? Well, you can't have a QE of goods and services, or you can have a QE of money. Very interesting topic that I want to talk about this morning. It's how do you fight income inequality? It's very simple. Some people say that you must tax the rich. Well, there's one way of taxing the rich without actually taxing the rich. What you do is you do helicopter money, you do QE for the people specifically targeted to the people, but not just all people, because it will not make sense. If I was the government and I was in control of central banking, I would QE for the workers. If someone earns $500, I would give him $500 on top of their salary. Why would I do that? Because instead of doing what the Americans did, by stimulus checks, it led to people not going to work. Because, let's face it, poor people are a problem just as much as rich people are a problem. Once you start giving free money to poor people, they stop going to work. That is why there's problems with the labor market in the United States. So what you need to do is to incentivize work. Let the people who work be QE'd. Give them more money. Do you know how the magic is going to happen there? Here's the thing. I told you that the rich won't want to be taxed. But what happens with income inequality is that most of the money is in the hands of the rich, and the majority of the people are not holding money, right? So even if the Federal Reserves and other central banks, they practice QE, that money ends up in the hands of the rich, right? And when the asset prices are high, the stock markets are high, they sell and they keep the money. Instead of investing the money, they hoard the cash, leading to inflation in the real economy and stagnation in the real economy. So one way of taxing the rich is actually printing money and giving it to the working class. In that way, you are reducing these people are making. So yeah, well, actually there's noise, poor people. So what I'm saying is that the ratio of money being held by the 1% to money being held by the 99%, great, will change if you QE for the 99%. Double their salaries, okay? And then don't touch the rich, don't tax them. They don't want to be taxed. So the effect is that as more money is in the hands of the 99%, that ratio of the money between the rich and the poor will become less, thereby reducing the income inequality gap. Okay. The reason why you are giving the people that are working only, as I said, don't give people that do not work, because it will cause people not to be productive. So you want your economy to be productive. So you reward those who actually produce. The people that work, give them more stimulus. No, not this. If someone stops working, stop the stimulus, because you also want to stimulate the creation of goods and services. But if you just give poor people money, remember that money has got no intrinsic value. It is just an oil, to get the economy going. So once you just give people money, you get the same effect with the rich. The reason why the rich do not work is because they don't have to work. They've got a lot of money. So the very rich people do not produce any goods or services. So basically, they're just useless to the system. You understand? Rich people, let me say it again. Rich people are useless to the system. They don't produce goods, they don't produce services because they've got lots of money. So they are disincentivized to actually do the work. Now, the people that are contributing to the society are people who produce goods and real services. A rich person can say, "Oh, I'm offering you financial services." You mean your money, our money? That okay, but there is no real service. Like Warren Buffett offers service. He works. He's got money, but he works. But I could be Warren Buffett's grandson and decide just not to work because my granddaddy is a billionaire. I'm not contributing anything to society, not producing any goods, not producing any service. That is a rich person's mind. It's in the same breath, the same effect can be found in the poor man's mind. An unemployed person mustn't be given a government grant because it will cause them not to want to look for a job. The people that must be given money are those that are working. Give them more money on top of the money that they are earning. If they stop working, stop giving them money. In that way, you will produce a society that actually works, who values the work, producing goods and producing the services. And as you are QE to them, you are reducing the income inequality gap. Inadvertently, that works out as a taxation of the rich because they will not have most of the money in their hands as before. Because as you print more money, you are actually diluting the wealth of the rich. So now, how does this QE work? Do you borrow money to the poor? No, you don't borrow money to the poor. You borrow the money to the government. So the money, that borrowing is the government borrowing from the central bank, right? So it will not be individuals owing the central bank, but it will be the government owing on behalf of the individuals. After all, the people who own the government. Don't we say that theoretically? So it is possible for the government to borrow money on behalf of the people and give it to them and distribute to them. So in such a way, you could actually give more money to those that earn less, but those who earn higher, the higher you earn, you don't QE much. So to the CEOs and bosses, you QE check, give them nothing. Okay, guys who earn 4,000 rand a month, give them 6,000 rands on top. Guys who earn 10,000, give them 6,000. Guys who earn 50,000 a month, give them nothing. Okay, you're not affected by this inflation. All right. So you are saying that now the reason why you'll be doing this actually is because you'll be fighting inflation. Now, one way of fighting inflation is not bringing the prices down. It's actually creating affordability. You understand? If I'm earning 4,000 rand a month and the inflation rate is 20%, right? But then if now there's this QE that the government money that I'm given for free, which increases, which in other terms increases my salary by 100%. The goods are not going down. The inflation rate is still 20%, but my affordability has already countered that inflation. So I'm talking about some kind of a salary increase or earning increase. I earn more than the inflation rate because that's what the government is giving me. Okay, maybe to some governments, that could be an extreme measure. So if you are a conservative government that doesn't want to QE too much, if the inflation rate is 10%, give 10% or 15% more, or 20% more to the vulnerable in society, and 10% more to those that are in the middle class and upper middle class, and maybe nothing to those that are in the upper class. Let the CEOs feel the brunt of the inflation. It is them who create these things anyway. So you get what I'm talking about. That now the problem that we've had in other government policies is that you will get governments that subsidize companies. They say, okay, if you are gonna pay 10,000 rand, the government will pay 3,000 rand. Basically, that 3,000 rand goes to the company, not to the worker. So it defeats the purpose. What you want to do is to give money to the worker, and that is not credit. They don't get to owe the government afterwards. The government is the one that is going to owe the bank on behalf of the people. In the same way, after all, the people own the government. So you cannot say that if people get money for free, then if people get money for free from the government, then it's a bad thing because people will need to pay for it. Well, but then if the government owes money, does it not owe on behalf of the rest of the people? You understand what I'm talking about? So whatever it is that the government owes, it is the people anyway that owes that, because government is a public purse, is it, for all of us. So in that way, we will actually have an economic system that will actually be working for all of us. But the political willingness to do that is going to be hard to find, because most of us, the oppressors, most of us who are governments are oppressors and who are run by oppressors. The people that make decisions are oppressors. They've got oppressive mindsets, and therefore they've got jealous spirits. They wouldn't want to see poor people succeeding. They wouldn't want to eliminate the system of poverty. The system of slavery that they perpetuate through financialization of everything, or the weaponization of every financial asset. So, by the way, the rich people and maybe even the upper middle class and the CEOs and whatever, managers or whatever, people who think they're better than other people, they actually strive in making other people slaves. They actually feed. Much more literally, they feed really on the failure of society. You understand? So when we speak about the failed state or failed society, it's not like it's something that makes rich people moan. No, it's actually what they like to see, because it helps create slavery via backdoor. Just because we do not call it slavery doesn't mean that it is not slavery. Slavery is a place, is a situation whereby there's a people that work very hard and earn nothing or close to nothing, and there's a few people who don't do much, but they are saved. They get goods and services created for them by the working class. But this working class doesn't have even much discretionary income. No, they don't have much savings, let alone investments. So, really, at the end of the day, this is the all-time slavery, which comes back as, unemployment, government deficits, inflation. We are trying very hard to address. You are lying. You are not trying very hard. You know very well what to do. QE for the people, helicopter money, or else you are just enslaving us. Okay. Give us the power. Then we will show you how it is done. Because we can have things like food shortages in the world. Is there a shortage of land? Is there a shortage of farms? Huh? There isn't. There's plenty of land in the world. There's plenty of farms. But how come there's millions of people that have got nothing to eat? How is that? How is it possible? I mean, really, how is it possible? With all the Harvard-educated professors running the world, Ivy League schools, experts advising governments all over the world, yet there's over billions of people who go hungry. Hungry. I haven't spoken about kwashiorkor, HIV, other diseases. Just talking about just hunger. No food. Yet this earth, God sends rain every year. Okay? Even if there's drought in other places, but there's rain in other places. You understand? What am I saying? I'm saying that all of this thing is actually orchestrated to create poverty. Poverty is created, it's a commodity, because poverty creates slaves. You know what I'm saying? This is slavery, one more time, using very erudite means, very hard to understand economic terms and governance policies that will hoodwink people to think that we're actually living in a free society, in a democratic. My behind is democratic. Who believes in a democracy here? Okay, these guys are just waiters. They don't even know what democracy is. As long as they get tips, they are fine. Anyway, so.
You must talk about Zimbabwe and the idea for us and taking their places for us. So the country is appreciating this country is social than anything.
Listen, this poor woman, this poor South African, she is saying that this country is rich, yet she is a waiter.
When you say you have money of South Africa, not Zimbabwe's money.
She says, I've got money of South Africa, not Zimbabwean money. She don't undermine our country. You see the miseducation of the poor. You see now, this is what I'm talking about. The miseducation of the poor. That is the miseducation of the poor. Anyway, I call up again. Oh, by the way, this is Rogers Bonera. If I pressed the wrong button now. That one doesn't stop talking. Now, the miseducation of the poor, misinformation of the poor. In countries like South Africa, well, poor black slaves like the one that is speaking to me right now, she actually believes that South Africa is rich. But here's the thing. Yes, South Africa is rich. But how much of that riches of South Africa accrues into her account? Except that she's here being a slave for rich South Africans whom she's gonna work hard and they're gonna give her 10 rand tip and she's gonna be thankful she was staying in a rich country. But what is a rich country when it is making you poor and is making you a slave? You understand what I'm talking about? So it doesn't mean anything to me that I'm coming from a rich country. Well, that the rich country doesn't even save me.
Okay.
Then we say, oh, you are coming from an African country like Zimbabwe.
I've got a problem of my own people.
What?
South Africans are stupid most because they let you do everything. You must get, even me, I will never let you hungry. I will give you the food. But your own people country, from your country, they will never. I can give you my money. I will pay your rent if you say, hey, this man is going to. But this is undermining South Africa. It's you guys to come with the
who's undermining South Africa?
I am South Africa,
and yes, this is a okay, the views of this lady are not the views of this channel. Her views about Africans and drugs are not the views of me. They are her own views.
Ah, yeah,
Okay.